Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for a joint meeting of the Committee on Education and Committee on Housing, Wednesday, March 17th, 3 o'clock, conference room 229. These are one item on the agenda, House Bill 525 HD2 relating to teacher housing. Clarifies that DOE may construct housing for teachers on a public school campus, requires that housing units constructed or acquired on a school campus after 6/30/2021 be rented at an affordable cost to new teachers or teachers teaching in a rural or hard-to-staff location, with priority given to teachers employed full-time at the school where the housing unit is located. With me are Education Committee members, Vice Chair Senator Donna Mercado Kim, Senator Drew Kanuha, and Senator Chang, our Housing Chair, on virtual. I'm not sure if other members are with him. Anyway, to testify, actually we have several people that gave written testimony and no oral testimony. Is that correct? All it says is approved. Okay. Okay. To testify, Roy Ikeda for the Department of Education. I don't see Roy. I see Randy.
Randy's on.
Randy, are you here to testify on that?
Yes, Chair. Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, Chair Chang, and Vice Chair Kanuha. Thank you very much for your time. For the sake of brevity, I will be brief. We have submitted testimony and we support the intent of the bill. I'm here to answer questions if you have any. Thank you very much for your time. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you, Randy. Members, questions? If not, next testifier, Corey Rosany, President, Hawaii State Teachers Association. Corey.
Aloha, Laverne Moore speaking on behalf of Corey Rosenberg, President of the Hawaii State Teachers Association. We stand on our written testimony in support of House Bill 525 with comments. House Bill 525 allows a public school teacher with less than 6 years to occupy, which is good for incoming teachers. Where will the teacher go, like on Lanai, after 5 years of teaching, or in a hard-to-staff area? Rent may not be affordable. This is when we lose a number of our highly qualified teachers back to the mainland because they just cannot afford to live here. I like Senate Bill 804, teacher rental housing, which makes living in Hawaii affordable for a long term and helps with recruitment and retention. House Bill 525, teacher housing, is a start. Senate Bill 804, teacher rental housing, is sustainability for our teaching profession. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laverne. Members, questions? If not, let's see. Chair Chang, did you have any questions or comments for the testifiers?
I do not.
Okay, recess. Okay, returning to our joint meeting on Committee on Education and Committee on Housing for House Bill 525 relating to teacher housing. The recommendation of the chair will be to pass House Bill 525 HD2 with amendments, and the amendments are directing the DOE to partner with Hawaii Public Housing Authority, Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation, and the School Facilities Agency in the construction of teacher housing on school campuses. Number 2, clarifying that units should be rented at comparable affordable rates as existing teacher housing. And number 3, that they should own no other real estate. With no further questions and comments, recommendation of the chair is to pass House Bill 525 HD2 with amendments. Chair votes aye.
House Bill 525 HD2 with amendments. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz? Excused. Senator Kanuha?
Aye.
And Senator Favela? Excused. With 3 members present, all voting in the affirmative, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Chair of Housing.
Thank you, Chair. And for the Committee on Housing, the same recommendation to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye.
For the Committee on Housing, HB 525, Chair's recommendation is passed with amendments. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Moriwaki?
Aye.
Senator Rhodes?
Aye.
And Senator Favela is excused. Chair, you have 4 ayes. Recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the joint hearing of Committees on Education and Committee on Government Operations. Wednesday, March 17th, 3:10 p.m. in Conference Room 229. We are here to hear House Bill 515 HD1 relating to the Department of Education, requires the auditor to audit the Department of Education's School Food Services Branch to determine how much local produce is being purchased and served to students. To testify, we have Randy Tanaka from the Department of Education. Randy?
Hello, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, Chair Moriwaki, and Vice Chair De La Cruz. Thank you very much for your time. We stand by our testimony presented. Appreciate your time. Here to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you very much. Aloha.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions of Randy Tanaka from the Department of Education? If not, we are moving on to Micah Munikata testifying for Ulupono Initiative. Micah, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Chair Moriwaki, Michael Monikata here on behalf of the Ulupono Initiative. We stand on our testimony in support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Are there any questions for Micah? If not, our next testifier is Brian Miyamoto testifying for the Hawaii Farm Bureau. Brian?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Chair Moriwaki, Vice Chair Kim and De La Cruz, Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. Hawaii Farm Bureau will stand on its written testimony report. Just wanted to highlight that the data will be very helpful creating the baseline, and we believe that that will help facilitate more local produce and products into our farm to school and farm to state program, but specifically for this for farm to school. So thank you for hearing this measure.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate the testimony. Members, any questions of Brian? Chair Moriwaki, do you have any questions for your members? Okay. I'm going to go into recess. Thank you. Reconvening the joint hearing on Committee on Education and Committee on Government Operations on House Bill 515 HD1 relating to Department of Education. Recommendation of the chair is to pass with amendments, technical amendments as well as to effect the date. Members' questions, comments? If not, chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on House Bill 515, House Draft 1. Vice Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz, excuse. Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Madam Chair, 4 members present, all voting affirmative. The recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, Chair Moriwaki.
Before the Committee on Government Operations, same recommendation. Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz excused. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator Gabbard.
Aye.
Senator Favela. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
4 members, aye. Recommendation adopted.
Thank you. This concludes the hearing on
Welcome, everyone. This is the Committee on Labor and Cultural Affairs, jointly with the Committee on Education. We have a hearing on one bill today. Today is Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. We are in conference room 229 and it is roughly 3:20. We have one bill, like I said, House Bill 125, House Draft 2. This is relating to the Uniform Employee and Student Online Privacy Protection Act. Prior to starting, I need some housekeeping announcements. This meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube. You will find links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, I believe the Labor Committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business on Friday at 3:10 p.m. In this room. Can you meet Friday, or what time did you want to reconvene in case we get abruptly?
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock.
Friday. Okay. And the Education Committee will meet at 3 p.m. on Friday also. Let's see. If you are online and would like to submit testimony, you may do so on the legislative website until midnight today. Again, we'll go to House Bill 125, House Draft 2. We have some testifiers. Department of Education.
Aloha, chairs. This is Connor, the CIO from the Department of Education. We will stand on our written testimony in support of this bill. We are available for questions, of course. Thank you for the opportunity to testify to both your committees.
Thank you. We have testimony from the Commission to Promote Uniform Legislation, Commissioner Oshiro.
Good afternoon, chairs, senators. Blake Oshiro on behalf of the Commission to Promote Uniform Legislation. We stand on our written testimony, and I am available for any questions.
Thank you. We also have written testimony from the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission, which is supportive of the bill. Do we have any questions from members for the two testifiers?
No.
Okay. With no questions, I guess we will recess the public hearing and go into decision making. Welcome back. This is the decision-making session for the Joint Committees on Labor, Culture and the Arts, and the Committee on Education. We had one bill, House Bill 125, House Draft 2. This is relating to the Uniform Employee and Student Online Privacy Protection Act. Both chairs have conferred, and we will recommend that we pass this bill with amendments. We'll amend reference to the age of majority on page 6, line 9, to under the age of 18, and make other technical and non-substantive amendments. Is there any discussion from members? If not, Senator Howard for the vote for labor.
For labor committee members, we're voting on the chair's recommendation to pass HB 125 with amendments. Chair Taniguchi.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator Kolole.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
The recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. And members, for the Committee on Education, the chair recommends the same to pass House Bill 125 HD2 with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on House Bill 125, House Draft 2, with amendments. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz.
Aye.
Senator Konuha.
Aye.
Senator Favela. All 5 members present. Senator Favela. Did I hear him?
Aye.
Thank you. All 5 members present voting affirmative. Recommendations adopted.
Thank you. We'll recess.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our Committee on Education. This is Wednesday, March 17th, 3:20 p.m. agenda here in room 229. First on the agenda is House Bill 1360 HD1 relating to early learning, establishes an early childhood education stipend program to be administered by the Executive Office of Early Learning to address the shortage of qualified early childhood educators in Hawaii, requires stipend fund repayments for the Early Childhood Educator Stipend Program to be deposited into the Early Learning Special Fund. To testify, Robert Peters, Chair, Early Learning Board.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani and Vice Chair Kim and members of the committee. The Early Learning Board strongly supports HB 1360 HD1 as a vehicle for incentivizing workforce capacity building, which will be so critical for our expansion of early learning as outlined in Act 46. I'm available for questions if any are asked. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Members, any questions of Mr. Peters? If not, thank you, Bob. Next, Lauren Moriguchi, Director, Executive Office on Early Learning. Lauren, please.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. EOEL is in strong support of House Bill 1360 HD1. We thank the legislature for the passage of Act 46 last session, which increases access to early care and education, and for your recognition of the need for qualified early childhood educators here in Hawaii. In 2020, there were 3,410 early childhood care and education workers. By our current projections, we'll need to double our workforce over the next 12 years in order to reach our goal of expanding access to all 3- and 4-year-olds. The stipend program will help to increase the workforce by providing funds to cover tuition and fees while reducing financial barriers for those who are amongst the lowest paid workers. I'd also like to emphasize that this bill leverages private funding and doesn't require appropriations, as we recognize the dire economic situation the state is currently facing. Thank you for this opportunity to testify on this bill, and I'm happy to address any questions you may have.
Thank you, Lauren. Members, any questions for Lauren Moriguchi? If not, thank you, Lauren. Next to testify, Kathy Betts, Director for the Department of Human Services. Kathy, please. Kathy there?
Sorry. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Dana Valente on behalf of Director Kathy Betts. We stand on our written testimony in supporting the intent of this measure and providing additional comments. I'll be available for questions as well. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dana. Members, are there any questions for Department of Human Services? If not, thank you, Dana. Also to testify, we have an individual, Kate Stanley, a name from the past. You're on mute. I can't hear you, Kate. You're muted.
I think her audio is not working. She's not muted.
Oh.
Okay, your audio may not be working. Apparently, you're not muted. Okay, do we have her written statement?
Yeah, she has written testimony.
Kate, we have your written testimony. Apparently, we can't hear you. I'm sorry, but thank you very much for testifying. And sorry, we can't ask you questions because all of our questions we saved for you.
She can hear us.
Thank you, Kate. Okay, members. Oh, now we can hear you. Go ahead, Kate.
Hey, I'm having trouble with my computer. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't have anything to add to my testimony, but encourage you to move this bill forward.
Thank you so much for participating, and it's so nice to see you, Kate. Members, any questions of Kate? If not, thank you, Kate. That is all of our testifiers. We do have several more written testimony members. And with that, we will move on to item number 2. House Bill 608 HD2 relating to the Board of Education requires the Board of Education to hold no less than 6 community forums annually with at least 1 forum in each county. To testify, To testify, Randy Tanaka, Department of Education. No, sorry.
Oh, there is, he's there.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. We have no testifiers for House Bill 608. So let us move on. Item number 3. This is Senate Concurrent Resolution 38 and Senate Resolution 27, urging the Hawaii State Department of Education School Food Services Branch to adopt an addendum to its agreement for the Aina Pono Hawaii State Farm to School program, requiring the procurement of goods and/or services from food hubs. To testify, Randy Tanaka, Department of Education. Randy, please.
Aloha, Chair Kidani, Chair Kim, Vice Chair Kim. Thank you for your time today. We stand by our testimony. We have made a comment or two about further definition of a food hub. I had some discussions with Mr. Miyamoto, and we're going to do our best effort to get more of our local farmers to our student cafeterias. Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha. Members, questions of Randy Tanaka? If not, next to testify, Brian Miyamoto, Hawaii Farm Bureau.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Kim, members of the committee. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. Chair, our testimony offers comments. However, we do support the intent of this resolution. We absolutely support more local produce and proteins in school lunches. We are very supportive of food hubs. We think that they're going to play an important role, not only with our Aina Pono program and our Farm to State program, but just the growth of agriculture. As we all know, Hawaii has majority of our farmers are small farmers. However, we have some concerns with language in the resolution that says that that requires purchasing, and the interpretation may be that DOE can only purchase from food hubs, and not every farmer participates in a food hub, or in events such as heavy rains now, maybe the food hub may not be able to provide the products that the DOE needs. So we do suggest that instead of requiring, we could encourage, we absolutely want food hubs to be part of Farm to School in Ainapono, but by requiring it, we may have some unintended consequences. Thank you for this opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you for that input, Brian, appreciate it. Members, any questions of Mr. Miyamoto? If not, next to testify, Dexter Kishida, individual.
Good afternoon, Chair. Dexter Kishida, also with the City and County of Honolulu, Food Security and Sustainability Program Manager, and standing in on behalf of Matt Donser, our CCSR Director. But standing on our testimony, would like to add as an extra note, after reading the reso again, there is some wording regarding an MOU to the Ainapono program. That section should probably be removed, as the MOU was with then Lieutenant Governor Shansitsui, and just for the pilot program. What we did suggest in our city and county and my personal testimony was to maybe do a working group around food hubs to really define, to help articulate better with the DOE and with the state institutions and the food hubs, what is the best path forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dexter. Members, questions? Next to testify, Hunter Hiavillan. Hunter, are you there?
Hey, Madam Chair, he's not present.
Thank you. And that is the end of the oral testimony, and we have a few other testimonies that were sent in. Moving on. Next item on the agenda. SCR 63, SR 45, requesting the Department of Education to convene a working group to create a model statewide school policy on student suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention in grades K through 12. To testify, Heidi Armstrong for the Department of Education. Heidi, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani and Vice Chair Kim. I'm Heidi Armstrong, Department of Education, testifying on behalf of Superintendent Kishimoto. The department stands on its written testimony offering comments, and within our testimony we've listed the existing policies that promote a positive school climate where students feel safe, supported, and have the sense of belonging. And recognizing that each student has their own unique and personal circumstances which influence how they're impacted by risk factors, the existing policies hold the department accountable to ensure that all students have access to a continuum of prevention, intervention, and postvention strategies to address the range of risk and protective factors for suicidal behavior. And supportive of the department's ongoing work and commitment to promote positive mental health, provide suicide awareness and prevention training aimed to ensure that student safety and to create caring environments, the department respectfully suggests that this resolution is not necessary at this time. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Heidi. Members, are there questions of Heidi Armstrong? Heidi, I do have a couple questions. As you know, you've been corresponding with me on this issue. So I wanted to ask, in your testimony, you list multiple board policies and administrative rules that you believe makes this resolution unnecessary. But in the last response you did to my office on suicide prevention training, you noted that the schools have multiple options for suicide prevention curriculum. But are any of these curriculums specifically tailored to groups mentioned in this resolution, like the LGBTQ plus youth with disabilities or chronic mental health conditions, substance abuse, homelessness, foster care?
They're not tailored to a specific subgroup, but they all do address the common signs and symptoms of mental illness within the age groups that we serve. They address the common signs and symptoms of substance abuse, how to act with a child or adolescent in crisis, how to connect people in need with help based on the symptoms that they're providing. The trainings also, in general, address the suicidal risk factors that we know could be environmental risk factors, health risk factors, historical risk factors that could include family history, child abuse, neglect, or trauma. And then they also address the warning signs that serve as red flags, being the talk or the verbal cues that a child is giving. For example, if they talk about feeling hopeless, no reason to live, or there's behavioral warning signs, there's mood warning signs. And so the trainings that came out of Act 270 provide that overview and the resources for the school personnel to either utilize based on the situation or to turn to when more assistance is necessary.
Heidi, your testimony, though, when you say that, you know, this resolution may not be necessary, you know, this one specifically talks about, you know, looking at these different groups, and if you're not specific to these groups, and are you, you know, doing reports that take into account these numbers and, you know, what the issues are? Because I don't know how we're able to address it if we're not looking at it that way. For instance, you also noted in a response that you were going to send out a reminder this month, and is this, you know, for them to do the training? And I think when I looked at it, about half or so of the schools had not done the training as of yet. So you're sending out a reminder to do this. Is it only because I asked, or does somebody actually check on these?
No, we do have a person from our office who checks throughout the year, and every complex area or district has a lead person leading the effort for the schools in that particular complex area. So the reminder was just one as we track and keep track of who has completed the trainings and who hasn't. I can't predict what would have happened. I do know, and it's not an excuse, it's a very unusual year that we've had, and so it doesn't preclude us or excuse us for not completing all of the trainings and tasks we've been assigned. It's just been a very unusual year. But our goal and our aim and our directive is that for school year 2021, every single one of our schools has completed this training to be in compliance with Act 270.
Thank you for that, Heidi. I will say I agree with you that this has been a very unusual year, but I think more so this training, you know, was necessary, not just this year, but also last year with the, you know, with the seniors that didn't have their proms, didn't have their graduations, and you know, something that I think some of these students, you know, that's all they look forward to. You know, that's the big event, and, you know, graduations, you know, ceremonies didn't happen. So that's why I'm very disappointed that, you know, this was let go this long. So when in the year do you guys take a look and see whether or not the schools have performed this survey or not, or the training?
Our office checks continually, and we follow up, and we have followed up throughout the year as the data comes in on who has and who hasn't completed the training. So we are aware of who has completed it to date and who hasn't completed it to date, And the directive, which everybody has received and understands, is that this training will be and must be completed prior to the end of the school year.
Thank you, and I look forward for a report at the end of the school year as to whether or not that was done.
Absolutely.
Members, questions? Thank you very much, Heidi, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have another testifier, Kagan Miller, testifying for the Trevor Project. Kagan?
Good afternoon, Chair Kadani and members of the committee. My name is Keegan Miller. I'm Senior Advocacy Associate for the Trevor Project. Previously, I served as a special education teacher, and I currently lead our efforts on school suicide prevention. I appreciate the opportunity to express the Trevor Project's strong support of HR 45, requesting a model statewide school policy on suicide prevention. The Trevor Project is the world's largest suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization for LGBTQ young people. We work every day to save lives by providing free and confidential suicide prevention through 24/7 phone, lifeline, chat, and text. Our 2020 national survey on LGBTQ youth mental health showed that 40% of LGBTQ youth have seriously considered attempting suicide in the previous 12 months, and more than half of transgender and non-binary youth had seriously considered it. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated the need for mental health and suicide prevention, especially as social isolation has increased due to physical distancing and other preventative measures. Recent polling by the Trevor Project also shows that 35% of LGBTQ youth report feeling more lonely during the COVID pandemic compared to only 22% of their cisgender straight peers. A higher baseline of vulnerability when
Thank you, Keegan. Members, this is the last of the oral testimony. We do have some written testimony. Are there any questions of testifier Keegan Miller? Keegan, I actually have a question. Hearing the last testimony from Assistant Superintendent Heidi Armstrong, and there is already a program within the Department of Education, apparently not so much geared to the LGBTQ group, but is there any programs that you guys have that may be useful, or you can make some recommendations for the department to look at that you guys may have used or is recommended by the different medical authorities?
Absolutely. So it's really about the schools having policy to include these high-risk groups. We know that they're often left out of consideration. The Trevor Project, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the National School Psychologists, and the American School Counselors Association actually have a model school policy that is easily accessible and can be used as a resource or as a reference point for this type of policy work.
Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Okay. Members, we'll move on to, with no further questions, to our next item. SCR 81 and SR 61, urging the Department of Education to include the teaching of financial literacy in the existing personal transition plan course requirement for each student. To testify, Terry Ushijima for Department of Education. Terry, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Kidani, Vice Chair Makoto Kim, and members of the committee. I'm Terry Ushijima, I'm Assistant Superintendent of the Department of Education, testifying on behalf of Dr. Christina Kishimoto. We stand on our written testimony and offer comment on SCR 81. The department would like to highlight that there are varying personnel transition plans, or PTP models, across high schools, and each high school has the flexibility to design its PTP curriculum within the department's guidelines and other school improved requirements. Further, there are various options to deliver financial literacy that schools can select from: career and technical education, business courses, economics, advanced guidance, or the new financial literacy course, and others. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Terry. Members, are there any questions for Terry Ushijima?
Yeah, I have a question.
Senator Kim has a question.
So Terry, is this financial literacy part of the core courses, or is it all elective?
The financial literacy is an elective course.
So is there any intent to include it as part of a core curriculum?
Not at this time. However, the schools have been figuring out different ways to infuse financial literacy into their school offerings, so students have opportunities for financial literacy. We realize that this is a very important skill for our youth, and so we also have partners with some credit unions and different programs at different high schools, and so the schools have been addressing it in ways that are matching their community and student needs.
I just can't understand why it is not part of a core, because in order to be successful in life, you have to have financial literacy. I mean, it has to be a basic, and if our students are not getting that, especially we have other students on the lower financial end that I think probably is that they don't have this kind of education, and they're probably not want to select it as an elective. So I'm not sure why we need to include these kinds of resos. It should be part of your core curriculum. I mean, what is considered a well-rounded education if it doesn't include financial literacy?
Yes, I agree. Financial literacy is very important for students, and it is important that they have the opportunity to learn those skills while they're in high school.
I think they should be required to learn it, not just have the opportunity. Do you folks also include any kind of education on the stock market and the economy, that kind of financial literacy as well in your courses?
I have our specialist. We have an economics course, and so I think that's where that would fall under. So I don't know if we can elaborate further on that.
Oh, no. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Members, further questions? Terry, I think I'd like to point out that maybe a couple weeks ago we did something about the EDU-Prize, the commercialism bill, and I think that would be a great opportunity to look at that program also, to be able to teach some kind of financial literacy, because this is based on helping the students learn, about business, to learn to commercialize their items, whether they're making T-shirts or hats or whatever at the school level, or doing other things, and disappointing to hear that since October or whatever, nothing has been done on this, and therefore the bill to move this along. But this might be one of the opportunities, and hopefully the department will get serious about making more opportunities to give our students financial literacy. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Members, if there's no further questions, we'll move on to our final item. SCR 83, SR 63, urging the Department of Education to use Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act and Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act monies to retain teachers and prevent furloughs. To testify, Brian Hallett, Department of Education. Brian, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Kadani, Vice Chair Kim, and committee members. The department stands on its written testimony with comments on this SCR. It stands by if there's any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Members, are there any questions for Brian Hallett? If not, that concludes the testimony. We do have a written testimony from Corey Rosenly on this item. So let's go into recess. reconvening our Committee on Education hearing, 320 hearing. For House Bill 1360 HD1, the recommendation of the chair is to pass with amendments. There are technical and non-substantive amendments. No questions? Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on House Bill 1360, House Draft 1. Just to see who's here, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator De La Cruz? No, excuse. Senator Kanuha?
Aye.
Senator Favela?
Aye.
4 members present, voting affirmative, recommendations adopted.
Thank you. For House Bill 608 HD2, recommendation is to defer decision-making until next Monday, March 22nd at 3:05 p.m. in this room, 229. For SCR 38 and SR 27, recommendation of the chair is to pass with amendments to clarify that DOE is urged to include food hubs as part of the overall procurement strategy for goods and services related to the Farm to School program, but not exclusively purchased from food hubs. Also to remove language related to reference of MOU with Lieutenant Governor's Office and technical and non-substantive amendments. Members, questions? If not, chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on SCR 38 and SR 27. Of the 4 members present, does anyone have reservations? Any members voting in the negative? Hearing none, your recommendations adopted.
Thank you. For SCR 63 and SR 45, recommendation of the chair is to pass as is. Chair votes aye.
I'm sorry, what was that one?
SCR 63 and SR 45.
Okay, recommendation is to pass as is, SCR 63, SR 45. Of the 4 members present, any members voting with reservations? Any members voting in opposition? Hearing none, 4 members voting aye, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. For SCR 81 and SR 61, recommendation of the chair will be to pass with amendments. And this would be to add another, be it resolved to, for the Department of Education to have consistency in a financial literacy curriculum for the students. And there's no technical, okay. So recommendation is to pass with that amendment. Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on SCR 81 and SR 61. Of the 4 members present, any members voting with reservations? Any members voting in opposition? Hearing none, 4 ayes, recommendations adopted.
Thank you. And the last one on the agenda today, SCR 83 and SR 63. Recommendation of the chair is to pass as is. Questions? Chair votes aye.
Chair votes aye on SCR 83 and SR 63. The 4 members present, any members voting in reservations? Any members with opposition? Hearing none, 4 members aye, voting aye, recommendations adopted.
Thank you. And that concludes our hearing.